Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Two Fronts Premium Pack, of which includes the Tiger West, the Tiger Ost, and the Ostwind Ost. This is a currently 5.3, 5.7 BR Rank 3 premium lineup pack in the German Ground Forces tech tree. This pack currently costs $34.99 USD when not on sale, and comes with both 15 days of premium time and 1,000 Golden Eagles, on top of course, the 3 vehicles. With that said, in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this lineup pack, including its stats, how it plays. I'll go over its strengths and weaknesses, I'll give it some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation, and if I feel that this pack is worth purchasing or not. With that said, if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel, but without further ado, let's get into the review. Now to start, I'll place their stat cards here on the side of the screen. Important things to know are their armor, their armament, and their mobility. Now for how this premium lineup pack plays. The main vehicles that you're likely to use will be the Tiger Ost and the Tiger West, of which are both heavy tanks with a great armament. Functionally, they are identical to each other and to the standard Tiger H, though the Ost has wood logs on the side of the hull, which increase effective armor by about 10 to 15 millimeters, whereas the West variant has a camo net around the entirety of the vehicle. With that said, the Tigers have a very powerful 88mm cannon, which has very good armor pen of 165mm at max, as well as great post-pen damage with over 100 grams of explosive filler equivalent. This makes it so that, along with its excellent accuracy, the Tiger can easily snipe from a distance and score fairly reliable pens and kills. Though heavy tanks in an up tier may be an issue, as tanks start getting overwhelming amounts of armor, closer to 7.0 BR, which is just above where the max BR range is of this vehicle. Regardless, if in a down tier, the cannon is basically an enemy deleter and can still function well in up tiers, granted you know enemy weak spots. The mobility is also surprisingly good, given the considerable 57.3 ton heft of the Tigers, alongside the mediocre 650 horsepower. In spite of these things, the top speed and suspension help to make the Tiger feel at points like a somewhat slower medium tank, which in turn makes the Tiger feel like a fairly quick heavy tank, again at this BR. Because of this, the Tiger tends to be a fairly versatile vehicle despite its size, playing roles that include sniping, brawling, flanking, frontlining, and even base capping if the opportunity presents itself. Oddly enough, despite its real-life reputation for being a very difficult tank to kill due to its heavy armor, this reputation doesn't quite transfer over to War Thunder. Simply put, in real life, it fought tanks that would be oftentimes 2 to 5 BR in War Thunder, whereas it has to fight much harder hitting tanks in the virtual world. Regardless, the armor on the Tiger is still relatively thick, at 100mm on the front of the hull and turret, with 80mm covering the sides and rear of the hull and turret. While this is a good amount of armor thickness, these plates are essentially flat, which means that they don't grant additional effective armor that sloping would give. To make up for this, you'll want to angle your tank whenever possible. This essentially creates artificial armor angles, which can help to cause non-pens and ricochet. I have old guides on playing the Tiger tank and on angling your vehicle if you want to learn more. Regardless, the mobility, armament, and survivability all make for one of the most versatile heavy tanks at this BR. Now for the Ostwind Ost, you have a twin 37mm Spaa that sits on a Panzer IV chassis at 5.3 BR. This is not ideal, as it means that the Ostwind Ost is both pretty slow and poorly armored, but it's also somewhat expected for an Spaa. Regardless, the Ostwind Ost's 37mm cannons are powerful enough to destroy pretty much any enemy aircraft in a single hit, which is made even easier considering the turret traverse rate of between 24.5 and 35 degrees per second, depending on crew skill. If using belts that contain the APAT shells, you can also destroy enemy tanks from the side, as it has up to 49mm of armor pen. While not incredible, it can still easily destroy light tanks, other Spaa, and can even destroy or damage heavier vehicles, which is not something that a lot of Spaa can do at this BR. In all though, this is still the least versatile vehicle in this pack, but does fill the extremely important role of destroying enemy aircraft. Aside from that, it can act as an emergency tank killer, but that's only if you run out of other options. Still, that's what I like about this pack. It gives you a lineup and the ability to keep going even after your main vehicles are dead. Now with that said, let's get into the strengths and weaknesses of the vehicles contained in this pack, and I'll be doing these all together. Now for their strengths, the Tigers have excellent suspensions that help to boost mobility off-road and allow for a much more stable cannon when firing on the move. Second, the armament on all three vehicles is great for different reasons. The Tigers have a great 88mm cannon which, while it doesn't have the most armor pen, is still very respectable at 165mm at max with over 100 grams of explosive filler equivalent. The Ostwind 2 has two great 37mm cannons that fire decently quick and can easily annihilate an enemy plane once a hit lands. It can even pen the sides of many tanks around this BR. Third, in much the same way considering their power, each vehicle has a good reload rate. For the fourth strength, the Tigers have 6 smoke grenades each. Fifth, despite their weight at over 57 tons, the Tigers are decently mobile, especially relative to heavy tanks. Sixth, if angled properly, the Tiger tanks are very well armored. Seventh, not that's a huge deal, but the wood on the side of the Tiger Ost works as additional armor, providing essentially an additional 10 to 15mm of armor equivalent. Eighth, the Tiger West and Ostwind both have camo nets that can somewhat help with staying concealed. Ninth, the 88mm on the Tiger tanks is extremely accurate relative to similar BR tanks. And finally, each vehicle in this pack has premium RP and SL bonuses. Now for their weaknesses. While not awful, the turret traverse rate on the Tigers is not very good at 8.4 to 12 degrees per second, depending on crew skill. Second, the Ostwind's mobility is fairly poor. Third, armor on the Ostwind is poor at this BR, but that's to be expected for an SPAA. Fourth, the Tigers lack a top-mounted MG of any kind that would help with anti-air. Fifth, relative to other vehicles, the Tiger and Ostwind are fairly large and noticeable, and thus easy to hit. Sixth, the armor on the Tigers is flat and is only 80mm thick on the sides with decent enough 100mm on the front, which means that you need to angle, otherwise you can easily die. Beyond this, the Tigers have a huge cupola weak spot. And finally, ammo is stacked along the weak side armor of each vehicle in this pack. Now with that said, let's get into the scores, and because this is a lineup pack with numerous vehicles, I will be giving the average of score between each vehicle as the score in each category, though weighing the Ostwind slightly less, as it is a very niche vehicle with a specific purpose. Additionally, I'm adding a new category called Versatility, being that this is a lineup pack. Versatility goes over how capable the vehicles are insofar as being able to perform in different ways. Now with that said, to start, let's get into its armament, which I give a 6.5 out of 10. The Tigers have the best armament in this pack with pretty good armor pen, excellent accuracy, and great post-pen damage thanks to over 100 grams of explosive filler equivalent. The Ostwind, however, isn't far behind, with two excellent 37mm autocannons that can pen weak tank armor and annihilate any aircraft that can take a hit from it. Mix in relatively good reload rates between all vehicles, decent optics relative to BR, and decent ammo options, and you have a pack with a fantastic armament. It's just too bad that the Tigers lack top-mounted MGs and a slightly faster turret traverse rate, but those things can be worked around. For mobility, I give this pack a 5.5 out of 10. Being that these are Tiger H's, they have 50 less horsepower than the faster Tiger E. This might not seem like a big deal, but it is noticeable. Still, for heavy tanks, especially considering their power to weight ratio, the Tigers have pretty good mobility. On the other hand, the Ostwind has mediocre mobility. Not awful by any means for an SPAA, but it is just good enough to be usable and nothing more. Still, the Tigers have enough mobility to perform in most roles with some effectiveness, which says something considering that they are very heavy tanks. Now for survivability, I give the vehicles in this pack a 6 out of 10. While the Ostwind has obviously poor survivability, it's fairly par for the course with that type of vehicle. In that regard, it's pretty average. The Tigers, on the other hand, can either be easy or very difficult to kill, depending on how you use them and if you're in a full up tier or not. Unfortunately, in up tiers, the armor on the Tigers can be penned fairly easily, but this can be somewhat negated by angling and by fighting at a distance. When doing that, the Tigers can be surprisingly difficult to kill. Mix in smoke grenades, which many tanks at this BR lack, and you have a fairly survivable vehicle. Now for versatility, I give this pack a 6 out of 10. Despite being heavy tanks, as stated before, they are fairly mobile and can be used in a number of different ways, including sniping, flanking, frontlining, brawling, and more. Even the Ostwind 2 is relatively versatile for an SPAA, though you really can't expect much from an SPAA at this BR. Still, the overall versatility of this pack largely comes from the versatility versatility inherent in the Tiger tanks. I just wish that we could have had a Panther in this pack instead of one of the Tigers, as that would help a good amount with versatility, but it is what it is. Now overall, I give this pack a 6 out of 10. For the first of its kind in War Thunder proper, the Fronts pack is very good, or even great. Between the overall usefulness of the Tigers and the Ostwind 2, it provides a very good basic lineup for many people looking to explore the lower to middle tiers of the German ground tech tree. Of course, there are some faults with the vehicles, and I somewhat wish that they added a Panther tank. Hopefully, if they could bring down some of the Panthers to 5.7, that'd be great, but 2 Tiger H's is still very, very good. Now, with that said, do I recommend the purchase of the 2 Fronts pack? Yes, I 100% do. Having 2 premium Tigers will greatly expedite the grinding of the German ground tech tree for many people, and gives an opportunity for players to get used to low to mid BR gameplay, which helps to set the stage for higher tier very well. Being that this provides essentially a small lineup of 3 vehicles, it allows for players to be able to spawn into a match numerous times, rather than leaving their vehicle after a single death. This will help to improve skill by a ton compared to purchasing individual vehicles and again leaving after a single death. The current price of $34.99 USD is also, in my opinion, very good, especially considering that a singular German T-34 premium is about $16.50 USD when considering Golden Eagle cost. When at 50% off, you can expect the price to drop all the way down to $17.49 USD, which is a fantastic price, especially considering the inclusion of 1,000 Golden Eagles and 15 days of premium time in this pack as well. So again, you get 3 premium vehicles, 2 of which are Tigers, 1,000 Golden Eagles, and 10 days of premium time for $34.99 or even $17.49 USD when on 50% sale. So yes, I fully recommend the purchase of this pack. Not only does it give you the opportunity to use at least 2 premium Tiger tanks in your lineup, as well as whatever other Tiger variants you have access to, but it also gives you an SPAA so that you can get used to that type of gameplay and have the opportunity to shoot down whatever CAS aircraft destroyed your Tiger. So yes, this is a fantastic pack, and I also give it my Tankenstein seal of approval. Personally, I hope that Gaijin adds this sort of pack at a variety of tiers across different nations. Gaijin may have hit gold with this sort of pack. Now with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you think about this review and of the pack in the comments below. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video, as they both help me tremendously. Either way though, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.